Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live daily on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure: all Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. And I do need to pause for a public service announcement. Bookmap is asking all Bookmap Discord users to fill out this form. You can scan this with your phone. Fill out the form. You'll need your email address and your Discord name and also your Bookmap license key. If you do not subscribe to Bookmap, you can sign up for a free license. That is the free version that's for crypto and also does provide delayed data for stocks and futures, I believe. And this will provide you with some great benefits, webinars, services, beta programs, add-ons, and make Bookmap Discord better experience for all users. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel. That's a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. And again, more about Bookmap Discord, a great community. There's a wide variety of content there on a variety of asset classes, options, stocks, futures, crypto, also on a wide variety of languages. And it's a large community of traders all trying to help each other become better traders. I'm also on X, formerly known as Twitter. I did post a couple of annotated screenshots over the weekend of setups that I talked about on Friday. If you're on X, and I urge you to go take a look at those. If you like what you see, give me a like and a follow on X. That would be great. All right, thank you. All right, so let's move on now. Here are my key tenets for trading. The first is that options trades and market maker hedging activity are key drivers of price in many stocks and futures. And for the S&P 500, SPX is the underlying index, SPY is just another version of SPX, and ES is a derivative of SPX. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in SPY and SPX, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge with futures. For stocks, they will hedge with the stock. For example, Apple. Traders will, when traders buy and sell puts and calls in Apple, market makers take the opposite side and they buy or sell Apple stock to hedge their delta exposure. And for the S&P 500, again, market makers are hedging with ES futures. And the same for the NASDAQ 100. NDX is the underlying index. NQ is a derivative of NDX. And QQQ is the ETF form of NDX, and it is much more liquid, and I think it has a much larger influence on the NASDAQ 100 than the NDX. The focus of my presentation today and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day, as well as the directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis and for setups for entries and exits. And when I talk about setups today, I will be focusing on an underlying asset, and setups in those assets can be taken any number of ways. For example, the S&P 500 setups can be taken with ES futures, SPY shares, SPY options, SPX options, or even ES options. All right, so again, I'm looking at real-time order flow in Bookmap and market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the chat in the Options-Jug chat channel and Bookmap Discord, as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. And hello, Caesar, Stephen, welcome. Glad you're here. All right, here's my agenda for today, Monday, February 12th. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, events, and earnings for the week. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today, and then I'll take a look at the live market. And when I get to the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know, and I'll be glad to do that. All right, let's get started with news items. There was nothing today as far as I know, and it does begin tomorrow with the CPI data that comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That could be a market mover. Excuse me. CPI data tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Then Wednesday is the VIX expiration. That is at the cash open. VIX expiration. Then on Thursday, retail sales come out. And then on Friday, the PPI data comes out, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then Michigan consumer sentiment at 10 a.m. And then finally, Friday is the February monthly options expiration. It's a very call-dominated options expiration, and we'll take a closer look at that later on in the week. So the major events, CPI, PPI, and the options expiration. And there are also a variety of Fed speakers throughout the week. There were several today. All right, let's move on to positional analysis now. I'm going to start with the S&P 500. And this is the S&P 500 futures, ES futures in Bookmap. And before I take a closer look at this chart, I want to step back, take a look at a larger time frame, and I'm going to go to the underlying index, which is, again, is SPX. Oops, this line got adjusted. All right, so this is the SPX index. This is the current rally that began last year, October 30th. And I'm going to go through how the key levels, mainly the call walls, have progressed higher. So first of all, at the end of the year, early this year, SPX found resistance at the 4,800 level. Then on options expiration in January, also a call-dominated expiration, price broke out, SPX broke out above the 4,800 level. All right, let's pick it up there with another SPX chart. This time I'm going to go to a 30-day 1-hour chart. So pick up the top of the rally. Here's that breakout above 4,800. 4,800 right here. And then on Monday the 29th, SPX broke out above the 4,900 level. A little bit of a pullback after the FOMC meeting. And then now SPX is trading up above the 5,000 level. So there's the 5,000 level. So pretty steady progression up from 4,800 to 4,900 to 5,000. The 5,000 level was the call wall, and now the call wall has moved higher. All right, so let me point out those levels. First of all, the expected moves. Dashed purple lines showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. I update that once a week. That's based on the options market. Those levels change once a week. And then the dashed blue lines are showing the lower and upper daily expected move, also based on the options market. I update those every day, the evening before. I've been posting those in Discord, both the weekly and daily expected moves. All right, so far today, SPX found some resistance just below the upper daily expected move and is now trading within that expected range for the day. All right, the other lines on this chart are showing Spotgamma levels. These are proprietary Spotgamma levels that are provided to Spotgamma subscribers, shown on a variety of trading platforms. This is Thinkorswim. I'm going to point out the key daily levels. First of all, here's the put wall at 4,500. That's a strike with the largest net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. Note that level did move lower from Friday. Dropped down from 4,800 on Friday to 4,500 today. All right, so that's a pretty big move lower in the put wall. Not really significant. All right, the next level up above that is the volatility trigger. That's the VT level there at 49.45. That is Spotgamma's proprietary gamma and volatility flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to enhance or increase volatility. On the other hand, above that level, like SPX is trading now, market makers' position on the gamma curve is positive. In a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to subdue or decrease volatility. The next level up is 5,000. That's the absolute gamma strike. That's a strike with the largest absolute positive and negative gamma. And then finally, the call wall has now moved up to 5,100. And that was expected last Friday as the SPX rallied. That call wall moved up from 50.50 to 5,100. So there's the progression of call walls now up to 5,100. So shifts in levels for the SPX. Put wall did move lower, and the call wall moved higher. And I'm putting more relevance on the call wall. All right, let's finalize our view of SPX, this time with a 1-minute chart, so we can see the levels in play for today. Going to zoom back just a little bit. So this is showing this is from Friday, dark shaded portions, regular trading hours. It looked like initially in the morning the rally from Friday was going to continue. Then price took off, and we'll see why in just a few minutes, and then has found some resistance just below the 50-50 level, and there's a combo level and then the upper daily expected move just above that. All right, let's go to Bookmap now. All right, in Bookmap, I have my own cloud notes. So I can show SPX levels. There's that 50-50 level that I just mentioned. So that is SPX 50-50. I'm also showing SPY levels on this chart. There's the SPY 504 call wall. Also, you can't see it in this view, but the white line just above, there are two white lines. The lower one is the SPX 5023 level, and just above that is the SPY 501 level. Note it acted as support this morning, and we'll take a look at that when we take a look at setups. All right, note there is a difference in price between ES and SPX. Earlier today it was around 17.5. That's what I was using this morning, so I'm showing 50-50, SPX 50-50 at ES 5067.5. Right now it looks like it may be closer to, it's somewhere between 17.5 and 18. And note that I do post the index relationships that I'm using every day in Discord. I post the preliminary numbers before the cash open, and then I post the final numbers after the open, try and get those out around 10 a.m. All right, so I've got one column of notes. So I'm showing SPY levels, SPX levels, and also key levels for ES. And there's the upper daily expected move. Looks like I forgot to add 50-50 for ES, so I need to add that in. All right, so shifts and levels again for SPX, put wall lower, call wall higher, more significant. And for SPY, the volatility trigger, put wall, and call wall all shifted higher. So a hat trick for SPY, that's very bullish. All right, so overall thesis, directional thesis bias for the S&P 500 was bullish today based on those shifts and levels. All right, let's take a look at NASDAQ. So here are the NQ futures and Bookmap. And before I take a closer look at this chart, I do want to take a look at the charts for the underlying index products. I'm going to start with QQQ. So this is a 1-minute chart for QQQ, just showing the levels in play for today. And note this 437 level, that's an L4 level, large gamma 4, acted as a good launching point along with VWAP for long this morning on this trend break. And then it looks like QQQ found resistance right around the 439 level, and then this combo 4 level combining NDX and QQQ gamma weighted open interest into one level, and then 436 as support. All right, so that is QQQ. We'll also take a look at NDX for completeness, and then we'll get back to NQ. So here's NDX. Combo level around the same level as the QQQ combo level. And note for NDX, the call wall and absolute gamma strike both moved higher to 18,000 after remaining at 17,100 for quite a while. This level did act as resistance somewhat earlier today, then support, and now the S&P 500, the NASDAQ has dropped well below that level now. All right, so that's NDX, a couple of combo levels as well as that 18,000 call wall in play. And note there's a difference in price between NDX and NQ as well. Today I'm using 77, 78 points. All right, so again, I have my own cloud notes. So I can show QQQ levels. There's the QQQ 439 level acting as resistance. Also that combo level just below that. Big round numbers in NQ. And also again, NDX. There's the 18,000 level. And then the 437 level that acted as a good launching point for a long this morning. All right, we'll take a look at setups in just a minute. And then to wrap up positional analysis, I do want to see how market makers were positioned on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day. What I'm looking at is gamma notional. This is market makers' position on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day for the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Russell 2000. Note all these numbers are positive. So a positive gamma environment indicates that for an index, traders are short calls, market makers are long calls. That's what Spotgamma assumes, and hence the positive gamma environment, and they have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure. All these numbers are positive, and note they all, with the exception of NDX, which is typically very small, all these numbers moved higher from Friday. So gamma notional becoming more positive. All right, let's take a look at some setups now. So everything that we've looked at so far, other than the Bookmap, is based on static data. Spotgamma takes open interest data from the OCC that's updated once a day, sometime during the night. They take that data, they apply their algorithms, proprietary algorithms to that data to come up with the levels that I've been showing, the key daily levels, call walls, put walls, etc. And I use that in my planning process, and I'm also typically looking for reactions at those levels. All right, Caesar asked long gamma equal positive gamma, right? So think of it as traders in SPX, maybe thinking of institutional traders. They will have a portfolio of long stocks, and a very simple way for them to hedge is to buy a put, or in the case of the JP Morgan collar, buy a put spread, and then they sell a call to pay for that. They sell an out of the money call and buy an out of the money put or put spread. So that is I think that's the basis of the assumption. So traders are short calls, market makers take the opposite side, so they're long calls, and that is positive gamma. When you're long an option, that's positive gamma position. All right, so Caesar, I hope that answers your question. All right, let's take a look now at some setups. I'm going to start with the S&P 500. And Spotgamma has made some changes to the charts here. So I'm going to step back out just a moment to show you what this is. And I have separated out puts and calls. Typically the total hero signal is purple. I'm just leaving it at calls because that is what is driving the market today. All right, so what this chart is showing is the hero signal, hedging impact real-time options. This is available to Spotgamma subscribers. Typically, again, I'll just show the total line. All right, so what this chart is showing is price for SPX with a white line, and the hero signal, again, hedging impact real-time options. So this is real-time now. We're moving on to the execution part of my process. That's why I don't like to jump from total to put and call, this auto zoom. All right, so this is the hero signal showing options trades and market maker hedging activity. Oops, wrong tool. For a combined signal of SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures. So if you trade any form of the S&P 500, this is the signal you want to take a look at. And a rising hero signal indicates traders are taking positive delta positions. And they are buying calls, which is what's going on today, and or selling puts. Market makers take the opposite side, and they have to buy futures, AES futures, to hedge their delta exposure. And a falling hero line indicates traders are taking negative delta positions. They are buying puts and or selling calls. Market makers take the opposite side, and they have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure. All right, let's zoom back in on this chart. All right, I'm going to separate out puts and calls. So I think this is showing a pretty strong correlation between options trades, market maker hedging activity, and price action in the S&P 500. So now I'm going to separate out puts and calls so we can get more clarity about what is driving price. So the orange line is showing calls. When the orange line is rising, that indicates traders are buying calls. Market makers are selling the calls, and they have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. And call buyers definitely in charge today. Oops. Quickest way to restore this is jump to another signal back to S&P 500. All right, so I'm going to just leave it like this. All right, so traders buying calls today. Note at the peak today, this notional value was over $6.4 billion, and that is huge, especially at this time of day, 120. That is huge. It's just a call buying frenzy. That's what's been driving the market is call buying again at 120 over right around 6.4 billion. Again, that's huge. Right, Stephen asked, never heard of XSP. Is that that's just another version of SPX. It's the same size as SPY, but it has the same type of settlement as SPX. All right, so again, XSP, I really don't pay much attention to it. All right, so let's take a look at some setups now. I'm going to zoom in on the morning, and obviously there was a great long, somewhere between 10:15 and 10:30. So let's see what was happening. So right around 10 o'clock, traders, they were buying calls. They started selling calls. They're also buying puts. And then right around 10:25, they started buying calls again, started selling puts. That's shown by the rising blue line. Again, orange showing calls. These direction of these lines are shown in terms of delta. So a rising orange line indicates traders are buying calls. That's positive delta. A rising blue line indicates traders are selling puts. That's positive delta. All right, so right around 10:25, both lines moving in the same direction. That's a very powerful directional indicator, indicating a good entry point for a long. All right, so let's go look at Bookmap now and see where we could have gotten long. All right, so I'm going to zoom in. Get back. All right, so there was a bit of chop from around 9:30 to right around 10:15. And notice during this time, there were some large traders coming in with iceberg orders. This is not large size. I'm looking at also the on-chart indicators. Again, this is not very large, but large traders are buying with iceberg orders they use to hide their size. That's also shown by the rising light blue line. Price finds support right around the SPY 501 level. The volume dots are showing market buy minus sell. Magenta dots indicate more sellers than buyers, and green volume dots indicate more buyers than sellers. So right around 10:25, 10:30, aggressive buyers start to come in. ES finds support right around the 501 level, and this VWAP, that's this line right here, also provides a good entry point for long. As traders started buying calls, market makers selling calls, buying stock to hedge their, buying futures to hedge their delta exposure. And then as price starts to move higher, cumulative volume delta starts to rise. That's the dark blue line. And then also buy stop orders fuel the move higher. That's the yellow line. So you can see all the green volume dots moving on the way up. These small green dots are buy stop orders that helps to fuel the move higher. So as price moves higher, buy stop orders fueling the move higher, as well as traders buying calls. All right, let's. And then price finally finds some resistance just below this 50 level that was noted as resistance in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note, and then the upper daily expected move for ES just above that. And we already saw that the SPX upper daily expected move was just above as well. All right, so that was the long setup this morning in the S&P 500, primarily driven by call buyers. All right, let's take a look at NASDAQ. And we'll take a look at the current market in a few minutes. So let's take a look at NASDAQ. Very similar setup, right around the same time. Trend break, right at the QQQ 437 level. Also VWAP. A lot of aggressive buyers coming in, shown by the green volume dots. And note the CVD was rising before that trend break. Also stop orders, shown by the yellow line, rising. Buy stop orders fueling the move higher. All right, let's go take a look at Hero, and then we'll take see what traders were doing, what options traders were doing. All right, so for the NASDAQ, I'm going to take a look at two signals here. The first is the NASDAQ signal, and this combines NDX and QQQ options trades into one signal. I'm going to zoom in on the morning, and sometimes this is in sync with the MAG 7 stock, that MAG 7 signal that we'll take a look at in just a moment. Sometimes it's not, but I do give precedence to the MAG 7 signal. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. All right, so about the same time, 10:20, traders start buying calls in NDX and QQQ, and just a couple of minutes later they start selling puts as well. So in this case, with this launch of the rally in the morning, traders were buying calls and selling puts. Blue line, orange line, moving in the same direction. Very powerful directional indicator. Let's take a look at the MAG 7 signal. Zoom in. And note this signal was chopping around until around 10:25. That's when price started to move higher. Traders started buying calls. Orange line rises pretty sharply. Traders buying calls in the MAG 7 stocks, and price moves higher. And let me just show you what this signal is. Get out of full screen mode. All right, so this is a combined signal. for the stocks known as the Magnificent Seven: Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla. And these stocks, 7 stocks, make up a very large component of the NASDAQ 100 and also the S&P 500. Very important signal to watch every day. All right, I'm going to zoom back in on this chart now. All right, note the height of the day, right around 1140. Options traders take their foot off the gas. Aggressive call buying in the morning, then all of a sudden right around 1140, they start selling calls and price moves lower. So starting around 1140, they were buying puts and selling calls. And note both notional value for puts and calls for today have turned negative now. So at one time the call value was up to again around 900 million. Put value also positive at one point during the day at 1140. All right, so let's go take a look at NASDAQ now. So we know in the morning this call buying frenzy kicked off a rally in NASDAQ. There's the rally that I talked about. Call buyers in the Mag 7 stocks as well as NDX QQQ. Aggressive buyers shown by the green volume dots. Buy stop orders fueling the move higher. And then NASDAQ finds resistance at this combo level for NDX as well as the QQQ 439 level. And note for QQQ, the call wall is up at 440. So according to that, still room to run higher for QQQ. All right, so looks like NASDAQ trading around the lows of the cash session. This is the cash open 930 right here, right around 437. All right, let's take a look at some stocks and then we'll get to live market. All right, so the first stock I want to take a look at. So we know that traders were buying calls in the morning, and I want to take a look at which stocks they were buying, what was actually driving the market. So first of all, AMD. And let's go to Hero, go to AMD. Somewhat of a choppy signal this morning, but traders were buying calls. They were also selling puts. That was shown by the rising blue line in the morning and the rising orange line. And note they started buying puts right around 1140. That time should sound familiar. That was the peak of the Mag 7 signal. And then right around 1250, an hour and 10 minutes later, they start selling calls. And that was the high of the day so far for AMD, right at 177. Let's go back to Bookmap. And now they are pretty aggressively selling calls and buying puts. It's about time. Notional value for both puts and calls negative for the day. So net they are call sellers and put buyers for the day. Let's go back to Bookmap. There's that initial burst higher. Steady uptrend. resistance at 177. Remember, put buyers already started 1140, and then the call sellers start, and AMD drops lower. All right, the next is Meta. Pretty similar pattern. And let's go take a look at Hero, see what options traders are doing in Meta. Zoom in. So in Meta, traders were buying calls. They're also selling puts. Calls shown again with the rising orange line. Also selling puts shown by the rising blue line. Blue line, orange line going in the same direction, very bullish. Not quite the same whoosh higher as AMD in the morning. And right around 11:30, call buyers take their foot off the gas, and Meta consolidates and then drops lower. Note the vertical lines here are large. Those are large block orders, institutional orders. Some large orders to sell calls. Let's go back to Bookmap. So Meta reverses lower at 479, just below the 480 key gamma strike. All right, Stephen, I'm not sure I understand your question. He's asking, in your opinion, which do you think is harder to learn as a career trader, options or a futures trader? Well, if you're talking about trading options versus futures as a career, I would say it's harder to make money trading options than it is futures. That's my experience. So, there's a lot that goes into that. I learned to trade options first as a premium trader and premium seller, and you have to have a lot of money to make money doing that, and it take a lot of risk. With futures, if you really study, practice, utilize Bookmap, I think just showing, looking at what I'm showing every day with the options as a basis for your, as your key tenant, as an options for your analysis, and then trading futures and Bookmap with all the edge that you get. I think that provides a significant edge for just making daily income trading. So I'm saying future trading is easier than options trades. I hope that's what you mean. So with options trades, again, you have to have a lot of money to make money, in my opinion. All right, the next stock, NVIDIA. Quite a big range in NVIDIA today. Let's take a look at Hero and see what options traders were doing. Go to NVIDIA. And the morning, note the times here. 10:20, let's zoom in on this. Note the time here, Flow alert 1025. That should sound familiar. Traders start aggressively buying calls. Nvidia had already been moving higher. They were actually already buying calls. Start more aggressively 1025. And then options call buyers take their foot off the gas at 1140. That time should look familiar. And then Nvidia starts to move lower. Note, during this time they were already buying puts. Let's go back to Bookmap. Launch higher VWAP 1025, 1140. Call buyers take their foot off the gas and Nvidia moves lower. All right, does anyone have any stocks they want me to take a look at? I'll be glad to do that. Otherwise, let's go back to the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. Start with the S&P 500. Going to zoom in on this a bit. All right, so the move lower continues now. Let's go see what options traders are doing. Go back to the S&P 500. So traders started selling calls right around 120. Started more aggressively buying puts. Let's go back to the total signal. You can see the correlation a little better between options trades and price action. Right around 120. S&P 500 starts to drop. Let's go back to Mag 7. Mag 7 signal making lows of the day. And NASDAQ the same. Let's go back to Bookmap. And Stephen, just let me clarify that the setups that I talk about again can be taken any number of ways. If you want to buy and sell puts and calls, the only difference, there's some differences in doing that in futures trading. And when I was talking about having a lot of large money, large account, that was for selling premium, selling naked puts and calls. If you want to buy puts and calls versus trading futures, there's some advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantage is you're paying that time premium. There's a time penalty. So if you buy or sell a put or call and price does not move in your direction in a timely manner, then you are eventually going to lose money. On the other hand, if you trade futures, there is no time penalty, but there is leverage there. So you're dealing with that leverage and a stop. Your stop may be hit, and then price move in your direction. You don't have to worry about that with options. It's a defined risk. So there's really, I think, really for either, if you're looking at options trades as the basis for your analysis and looking at order flow in Bookmap, I think that provides a significant edge for any type of directional indication in trading, whether you're trading futures, equities, or options. All right, so I hope that helps to clarify. But I have a hard time buying and selling puts and calls, especially calls, because of the volatility penalty and the time decay. All right, so Juan the Man asked, those dots in Bookmap, some are red, others blue, green, etc. All right, so what's the difference? All right, so first of all, they're the volume dots. I'm not sure which dots you're talking about. The volume dots, those are the main dots. Those are just showing market buy minus sell. Magenta dots indicate more sellers than buyers, and green volume dots indicate more buyers than sellers. Green volume dot, magenta volume dot. All right, the other dots that I have on the screen are, first of all, buy iceberg orders. That's what you're asking. All right, the iceberg orders, this blue here indicates a buy iceberg order. That's that kind of squiggly signal with an E that indicates that was a buy iceberg order, 100 contracts executed. And then that's a sell iceberg order. I have that above price. And that's shown with that magenta squiggly. That's showing 287 contracts executed. Those were sell orders. I also have stop and stop orders, green buy stop orders, and red sell stop orders. All right, Slodarazi says VIX highs plus 7.42%. Let's take a look at a chart of VIX. It has, thanks for pointing that out. Let's zoom in on today. So VIX has been up all day today. That's shown in the dark area of the cash open. VIX has been up all day today. Remember, NQ, ES rising, Mag 7 stocks rising in the morning, even as VIX was rising. All right, so Slodarazi, thank you very much for pointing that out. All right, Caesar asked, does that massive move down have a lot of options premium behind it? I'm not sure exactly what that means. There are definitely options trades driving price action. We'll take a look at Hero. Hero for S&P 500. You know, we know that traders started selling calls and buying puts. So if that's what you mean, yes. Options trades are really driving price. Here's NASDAQ, same thing. Mag 7. All right, so options traders really driving price today. Let's go back to puts and calls. So earlier today it was call buyers, then call sellers, driving price. Again, looking at the orange line. All right, Juan the Man asked, how can I tell when a dot is a stop order or a buy order or an iceberg order? All right, so there's a different icon, different color. This squiggly icon with the E, those are iceberg orders. I typically use blue or green for a buy and red or magenta for sell. So those are iceberg orders. That's that squiggly little icon there. And then stop orders with the red dot. Those are sell stop orders. Again, red for sell and green for buy. All right, Lucky Nugget says, I just made back my 400 loss into 160 win. Great, glad to hear that. All right, let's go take a look at, go back to Hero. So Caesar says, looks like they sold their puts fast. Yeah, call buyers and sellers still driving. Call buyers still driving, but puts as well. This is pretty typical in a positive gamma environment. We're not looking for a strong downtrend. In a positive gamma environment, at some point, options traders are going to come in and they're going to fade the lows and the highs. That's typical in a positive gamma environment. So let's see if this continues. Now it looks like the hero signal is starting to move lower again. Let's see what 0 DTE traders are doing. That's shown by the green line or the teal line. The purple line is showing all trades, all expirations, and the green line is showing options trades. This is the next expiry. So for the S&P 500, these are options trades that expire today. So it looks like options trades that expire today, shown by the green line, making up about 2/3 of the total notional value traded today. Turn that off. Let's go back to Bookmap. So remember this morning, this 501, 5023 level was support. S&P 500 broke below that. Let's zoom in now. Iceberg sell orders, iceberg buy orders, more iceberg buy orders coming in. Let's go back to Hero, see what options traders are doing. Looks like this may be the start of a pullback flag entry, or it could be a lower high. So it looks like right now some aggressive buyers are coming in. Let's see what options traders are doing, see if they're so far not really supporting the move higher. Check the Mag 7 signal. Hero signal still moving down for the Mag 7 stocks. NASDAQ also making lower highs. Let's go to a shorter look back period, see if looking instead of the entire day's worth of data, looking the last 30 minutes of data, see if that provides a little bit more clarity. Yeah, it does. So it looks like right around 150 traders started taking positive delta positions. Hero making a higher low. Let's go back to Bookmap. So right now, consolidation around the 501 level. Let's go back to Hero. And I would really look for Hero to start moving higher before looking for a long. Let's go back to the 1-day look back period. Still not seeing that. Back to puts and calls. I think easier to look at the total signal there. I usually find price action and the Hero signal a little bit easier to read in the morning than the afternoon. So I thought the long setup that I talked about this morning was definitely a little bit more clear. Check Mag 7. NASDAQ still making lower highs. Check NASDAQ. NASDAQ still making lower highs. Looks like some large traders are coming in with iceberg orders. Note the rising light blue line. All right, so far today it looks like the never want to say the easy money, but the better trades were the long in the morning and then the short around 11:40, 12 as options traders took their foot off the gas, then shift from positive negative to delta, negative delta. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. My time is up. One last question. Pharaoh asks, sell or buy iceberg order. So the rising light blue line indicates, this is in sum mode or cumulative mode, indicates buy iceberg orders. That's also shown by the on-chart indicators here, the blue icon. So those are buy iceberg orders. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thank you very much for your questions and comments. I really love it when you ask questions. Makes for a great interactive session. So thank you. Remember, tomorrow CPI data comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we will talk about it tomorrow. All right, everyone. Thanks again. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.